You would have some values keep changing through the life cycle, but evaluate your values. Because I have seen many a times youngsters especially, they are more inclined towards money because they think that that's the value, but that's not the right thing. You have to actually evaluate, is your value taking you in the right direction? Because we always decide as per value, right? Whenever there's a conflict, it's value which decides where we will take the step. So just evaluate and think that if you are chasing money very early in your career, you will not be having as much learning as you should be having.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the People Hum interview series. This is your host, Anushka at Leaders Hum. People Hum is an end-to-end OneView integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global CODI Award for HCM, that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the People Hum blog and video channel, which receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish several interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Gauri Das. Gauri Das is a strategic HR leader with around 14 years of experience in crafting and aligning HR strategy with business goals. She supports business leaders and individuals in driving performance and improving capabilities. She focuses on elevating employee experience by enriching careers, ensuring effective communication, and thus creating an employer brand. She drives the right culture in alignment with organizational values. She is a learner for life, and business acumen, adaptability, resilience, and digital and data mindset define her well. She carries a wealth of experience with both startups and well established organizations. She loves high energy and growth focused environment. Some of her achievements are HR 100 under 40, Top HR Mind India, TAPAI and Economic Times Young HR Leader Top 70, WICA Luminary Growth, LinkedIn Person of the Year 2020, and she's also the CEO Recognition EOQ. We can't be happier to have her on our interview series today. Welcome, Gauri. We're thrilled to be talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Anishka. I'm so happy being here.
Oh, the pleasure is absolutely ours. Thank you for taking out the time to talk to us today, Gauri. I really appreciate it. So, diving right deep into the interview, the first question I had for you was so, Gauri, as an HR leader for the past 14 years, could you share your observations on the industry in terms of the changes in approach and parameters of success?
Yeah, this is an interesting question, and this will make me go down the memory lane and come back and tell you what has happened in 14 years. So I would say the basics have remained the same. However, the pace has changed. So if learning agility was an important criteria then, it is today also. But now the pace of change has become so fast that you have to quickly learn, you have to quickly adapt to new situations. This was not the case earlier. You had a lot of time to switch from one area to another. I remember when I joined engineering, it was computer engineering, and that was first time when I saw a computer. I mean, I touched a physical computer. And now, when mobile it came to me, I think after I completed my college, and now kids are born with mobile, right? So that's how things have changed in terms of employee perspective and employer perspective. Loyalty was something which was very much required at that point of time. If you were changing jobs, that was looked down upon. Those things have changed now. Now it's like you have to rapidly learn, and you have to give value in whatever time period you are in the system. It's not that you will be respected only if you are spending 10 years with an organization. That's not happening anymore. What's happening is whenever you are entering the system, you have to hit the road running. Nobody is going to train you as well. Earlier there was a time, there was a honeymoon period. That's what we used to say when you enter an organization. But now nothing like that. Another aspect is networking, though it was required at that point as well, but there was no social media, there was no LinkedIn, no professional network like this, and you were not as connected with people the way you are required to do today. Again, the pace of change is very quick. There were no professions like podcasting. right? Today we have those people, we have somebody who creates YouTube videos, and those things were not there. So in terms of connecting also, it's much easier today, but at the same time there's pressure. Laws are changing. Nobody had thought that those many laws would change in 5 6 years time, but now we are seeing that almost all laws are for review. So that's another thing which, and especially for HR professionals, laws are critical aspect. That's another thing. Employee experience, it was unheard of, and now that's the basic requirement. And also the role of HR and similarly all other functions have changed. I would say there was hardly anything strategic in HR's role, and now not only HR but everybody has something on their plate which is strategic, and for HR it has to be totally strategic. So these are some of the observation overall and in HR profession that I have seen in last 15 years.
Oh, wow, that was great, Gauri. I love how you elucidated that whole response. It's really insightful. So it's basically you're saying it's sticking to your values, faster change adaptability, having a great network, and focusing on employee experience, right?
Absolutely.
Great. That was a really valuable response you provided us with. Thank you very much for that. So going on to the next question, you've mentioned that effective communication is the means to elevate employee experience. So, do you think that HR technology as a means can really help in removing that barrier of communication?
I think HR technology and technology in general is what helped us survive this crisis. Right? You and I are still operating from home, and it's technology that is connecting us, that is bridging that gap. However, I have seen that if technology is not used in right form, it actually impedes the communication, it impedes the engagement. And that's where not only technology, but the right technology is critical. So where we are using technology today, like I said, you and I are connecting, right? That's technology. Otherwise, we would have hardly met or maybe never met in our lives. Today, we are connecting with people, our global partners, because there is technology and it's possible. Similarly, in terms of HR, in terms of engagement, what I'm seeing is two things here. Number one, so far, if meeting is going on in a boardroom and those who are sitting physically there, only those would be heard. Because people who are at remote location, they will not be connecting more, since so many people and majority is physically present. They are a minority anyway, so when they try to speak, somebody is already speaking, and that's where they would hardly speak. So this has definitely helped in terms of connecting people. And second is introverts. So far introverts were not part of a lot of discussions because they would hardly speak unless they are pushed to speak, they would not. But today it's level playing field for everybody. Everybody is on Zoom, everybody is on Webex, and people are equal. They can even type in the chat box. That's another facility which technology has given us. So these two are level playing field for people operating in global organizations or those who are spread across globe. Another in terms of HR technology, I think that's critical today because, like I said in earlier question, it's all about employee experience. And unless you put technology to right use, you would not have any data. Unless you measure, you will not be able to improve. So talk about your pulse surveys, which used to be done once in a year. Now we have technology to do it every moment. You are knowing what your employee is thinking, what happened with your employee on a particular date. There is technology which is coming up in performance appraisal 360. There was a time when you used to write on paper, but now it's very quick. And the new form of performance management, which is check-ins, not about a performance review once in a year, that has been possible only because we have technology. Learning and development, so forget about what you, though there will always be a charm being physically present and learning in a classroom, but now I can learn at even at 12 p.m. at night. Or if I want to learn on a particular way, I want to listen to an audiobook, I can do that. Podcast, I can learn from podcasts. All these things are possible. Even virtual reality, that is helping in terms of onboarding learning. So that's another area where HR technology is helping a lot. simple experience when you talk about. So the moment employee enters the office and when they exit, through the day they have to do a lot of things which are administrative in nature, which do not add much value. Technology has actually helped reducing these. You talk about your leave and attendance, you don't have to do anything now. And that used to be a pain. Every year people will come forward and say, what is this? We are wasting our time here. Just stop these things. And thankfully there's technology to do it. Now, talking about connecting with global players, your global practices, again, it is possible because of technology. So, in each and every area of employee experience, employee life cycle, and HR, overall administration, operation, even strategic HR, the technology is playing an important role.
Wow, that was such an exhaustive answer. And I love how you touched upon several aspects in that one response. And I couldn't agree with you more, Gauri. And I think now remote workforce management is really taking the limelight, wherein we're able to do everything at the touch of a button, as you put it. And we're really leveraging on technology as an enabler more than a replacer of in human resources, at least.
Yes, yeah, and whole this thing, I mean, working from home, the seamless experience, it came because we had something called as team, and you could ping your colleague at any moment, and it was possible to check all the time. It was possible to connect with your colleagues, talking to them, talking to even their families was made possible because of this technology. So, COVID survival all because of technology, both at work and home.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think now, even on the diversity and inclusion front, there are a lot of strategies to include and integrate employees virtually that are really picking up. And so, thanks to COVID and work from home, I think there's more work life integration, if I may call that.
Yeah, so there is no line which demarcates now work and life. And you raise a very beautiful point in terms of diversity and inclusion, because more and more women would now be able to come into workforce because of this technology. And at the same time, it's not required that you work in India because you're staying in India. You can work anywhere. It can be any global location and you can operate. So the pool of talent would increase, but at the same time there will be competition, because again the pace of technology is very quick, and that new technology, talk about cloud or talk about AI or ML, these things which you really require, there are only few people available to do it at this moment. And that's where those people who are looking for those technologies would always be having this demand supply gap. Because I heard even during COVID times, and I read also in some of the newspapers and articles, that candidate who were having certain experience, they were sitting on three offers, 100% hike, and here we are talking about 12 crore people losing their job. So that's how there's disparity that technology has brought in, but we have to adapt.
Absolutely. And that was a really enlightening perspective you provided us with, Gauri. Really appreciate it. So thank you so much that you provided that for our audience. Going on to the next question, we all, in our respective experiences, in a way know the merit of high energy and growth focused environments. So, how do you suggest we return to creating those organizational cultures in the newer workplaces, even by following social distancing norms?
Yeah, that's a pertinent question and need of the hour, because the moment vaccine is also done, even after that, the hybrid model would be what we are looking at. So in hybrid model, when you are not with your team regularly, how do you connect? And that's what we learned through the year. How do you develop that connection? I think more of informal connection works here better rather than the formal meetings. No, and connecting with people in terms of not checking only what they are doing in terms of their work, but the holistic perspective. And wellness plays a critical role here, because there are 8 types of wellness, and we must focus on all of these. So there's one type of wellness which is called as community wellness, which we were not taking care of. But COVID told us that when you are home away from everybody, even that wellness impacts your mental health. So we were definitely thinking about the physical well-being, mental well-being, but this was something which was not there. Helping people to reach their objectives, even if it is in terms of giving back to society. So organizations will have to enable those environments where people can achieve all eight type of wellness, and that would be really bringing them together. That, so it's all about I call it what matters most conversation. So I may be somebody who loves recognition, but you might love money, right? So it changes from person to person, and that's where connecting with people, knowing what really appeals to you, definitely help you as a manager, as HR, in order to create those set of programs where people will be coming together. And yeah, the way it has been going on, it would be quite similar in future also. So what we are seeing is, if you are going only twice in a week to office, go with your team, so that even that 2 days you are with your team and there is that connect. So regular communication, informal connection, that is going to be need of the hour when it comes to creating that high energy environment. Because if I am happy inside, I would be engaged outside. If I have that experience, that I would be happy, like the way customers does when they enter the shop, or when they enter any place, and when they exit, between that whatever happened is critical. So here also, if there's someone who's having a challenge at home, a small a young kid, they should be allowed to operate in any time that they want to. And likewise, many more things. For women, there should be some other support. For people who are taking care of parents, for them there should be another flexibility. Study, so for everybody the preference would be different, the priority would be different. And we have, if we have to energize them, we have to really support them with these things, and also keep on connecting regularly. And the most important thing here is purpose of the organization. Where are we going? Are they really knowing what's happening with the organization, and what lies ahead for them, their career plan? If you can give them these things, people would definitely be highly energized.
Absolutely. I love all the 4 points that you raised. Firstly, I love the concept of community well being that you spoke about. I think organizations globally are really looking at strategies to ensure more employee well being. And so you're saying we need to keep in mind each employee's subjectivities, right? That no two people, there's no one size fit all solution, and we need to customize and offer services and a pleasant employee experience for each one.
Yeah.
Great. And also love the point on collaboration, Gauri. That was really enlightening.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Just to kind of wrap this interview up, Gauri, do you have any passing remarks for our audience, or any advice or tips that you'd like to provide for the graduating class of 2020 and 2021?
Yes, I think based on whatever I have learned in my life, I would like to suggest that learning agility is something which will take you places in today's era. Because I've said, even before COVID, a year ago, we were not hiring for resilience. But today, the most important skill is resilience. And also the way technology is changing, you have to continuously learn. It cannot be said that you learned in the college and now it's over. Nobody can do that. We are seeing that even very senior professionals, CEOs, CHROs, they go for further studies. Why is that required? This was not the case earlier, because things are changing so fast that if you are not able to learn quickly, you would be out of it. So that's where my one advice would be that learning agility, adaptability are the keys in today's environment. Always keep learning. If I cite my own example, I completed my psychology master's after 13 years of my experience. Why that was required? It is required because if I want to perform well in my professional, as HR professional, I need to understand people's psychology, and that's where I went back to college to learn. And there are a lot of ways to learn today. There's e-learning. There are so many ways through which even organization is supporting you to learn. So that's one thing which would be important. And second is values. You would have some values keep changing through the life cycle, but evaluate your values. because I have seen many a times youngsters, especially, they are more inclined towards money because they think that that's the value, but that's not the right thing. You have to actually evaluate, is your value taking you in the right direction? Because we always decide as per value, right? Whenever there's a conflict, it's value which decides where we will take the step. So just evaluate and think that if you are chasing money very early in your career, you will not be having as much learning as you should be having. People change jobs just for 2 lakh of rupees in a year. That's not the right thing to do. Just look at multiple things: organization structure, a culture. Is it really supporting you? Talking about you are getting to learn, your colleagues, your boss, everything is important. Money is not the only thing. So second advice would be that any professional at any stage of career, and especially young professionals, should look at learning, and they should not look at only money. So keep evaluating your values.
Wow, that was such a great note to end on. Love the inspiration and positivity from your side. And I completely agree with you that there's no start and end point to learning. We're all constantly on this journey. And in order to stay relevant to changing times, we constantly need to reskill and upskill ourselves, right?
Absolutely, you said it very well. Yeah.
Thank you. And also love how we need to have our values in place, and how you said we need to go after a purpose. We need to have a foundation that's strong and not be really materialistic. So that was really great advice that you provided our audience with, Gauri. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation, and I hope our audience would enjoy too.